Welcome to Life Mastery for Women. I'm your host, Jen Mack, Lady of the Mind. I've been studying mind mastery and emotional management and energy work and its connection to spirituality for over 25 years. And in this podcast, I help guide you out of your daily struggles in life in the areas of health, wealth, relationships, and spirituality. Life is hard, but your daily growth doesn't have to be. Join me 3 times a week as I lead you inward on a healing, connecting, and creating journey. Let's go get that nugget of inspiration towards your transformation. Hey ladies, it's Jen Mack, Lady of the Mind. Welcome to today's episode where I hope I'm finding you getting to the root cause of your problem. If you're not getting to the root cause of your problem, then it is my intention that in today's episode, I give you just one nugget of inspiration towards your transformation. So I want to tell you a little story. It was kind of a journey, but I want to make it quick and short and fast and get to the point of today's episode. But I want to tell you something. Those of you who've been listening know that I used to be a personal trainer, and I've been in the fitness field for, it was years. It was like 27 years or some crazy thing. And I really loved the mechanics of the body. But anyway, I remember having clients come to me, and I had an outdoor boot camp, and I did a couple of one-on-ones. I've worked in a couple of different gyms. But when I had my outdoor boot camp, I was there for them, right? I was looking at the goals that the women had, what they wanted, how we could best achieve that goal together. And I remember a lot of the clients coming in, they're like, okay, I've got this issue, I've got this thing, and here's all my excuses of why it's not working, and what do I have to do? I'm like, well, we always have to do the same thing. We have to diet, we have to exercise. You have to move your body, you have to burn the calories, you have to eat less calories than what your body consumes in a day. And think of it, as like a gas tank to your engine or to your car. And it's like, if you overfill it, now, what would happen out literally in the car is that you would just dump gas all over the ground. But in this case, if you overfill it, you have a 15-gallon tank and you put 20 gallons in your car, you're going to dump 5 gallons on the ground. But in this case with your body, that actual 5 gallons gets stored on your body as fat. Okay? There's such an easy scientific way to lose weight. Right. And people are like, oh, well, wait, no, I've got thyroid, or I've got injuries, or I had a hysterectomy or whatever. Yeah, I get that. I get it. I get it. Okay. I've had injuries. I had a full hysterectomy. I totally get it. The bottom line is our emotional attachment. It's our emotional attachment to food. It's our emotional attachment to sweets and alcohol or salty foods or fatty foods or fast foods or whatever. And if we can get to the cause, if we can put that in the forefront and say, okay, I have this problem. Here's this problem. What am I going to do about it? It's not the actual problem is the symptom of another cause. So fast forward now, and I would say probably for the last, pretty close to 10 years, 12 years maybe, I've been dealing with this weird back pain. And coming from the fitness industry and knowing muscles and a lot of the mechanics of the body. Now, of course, I'm an expert maybe compared to just the Joe on the road, but I'm not an expert compared to a kinesiologist or a doctor in, physical therapy. I know a lot about the body. But here's this fun story. It's not fun because it was in pain, but here's this really quick perspective that I got. I'm dealing with this back pain. I'm a very active person. Ever since my hysterectomy in January of 17, I gained 20 freaking pounds. And I'm like, what the frick? What am I doing? This is crazy. But I realized that my belief around my belief around my body type was all about movement. And my entire life, I was on the go. I was climbing, I was bike riding, swimming, hiking, running around, playing with things. I was very, very active. I played every sport in school. I would go and practice those sports. I played basketball, and we had a basketball court at our house, and I was constantly out there shooting and dribbling and running and whatever. And so when this all hit and I was dealing with this excess weight and this back pain, I'm like, oh my God, my life is over. And I just turned 50, and I'm like, it's over. I don't even know what to do. I'm trying to get to the bottom of it. So rewind just a little bit. I would say it was I think it was 2020, actually, the early part of 2020. And I was seeing a physical therapist, and he was amazing. And I just loved him. And we got along really great. And our sessions were fantastic. But The issue is that he was focused on the symptom, not the cause, though he was saying he was trying to get to the root cause of it. And I believed him because I'm like, dude, I need some help. Like I am suffering from this. I was in the fitness field. I know a lot about muscles. I know a lot about the mechanics, but I cannot figure out this problem. And when I would go that back pain, that muscle would seize up. And I'm literally, you guys, on the floor, on my back, not able to move, stiff as a board. And if I engage my core in any way, I am in excruciating pain. I would go from a 0 to 100 on the scale from 1 to 10. It was awful. And there were times I would go into the hospital, like they would literally have to carry me out of the house on a board because I can't engage my core muscles at all because this back muscle is so seized up that they're like, nope, this is a warning. And I'm like, okay, I'm not doing that anymore. Can you relax? Well, that to anybody over the course of time becomes so debilitating, especially with someone who, like me, leads a very active life. So, oh, hey, let's go kayaking. I'm like, well, I don't know. What if my back goes out? Oh, how about we ride our bikes? Well, maybe we should just sit home and watch the Tour de France on TV. Well, all right. Well, what about let's take the boys to Disney and let's walk around with a 15-pound backpack on, carrying lunches and waters and rain gear because it rained our first trip. And let's do that. Yeah, that's a great idea. Let's go do that. And then my back seized up, not, a week later when we got back. And I'm, laying flat on my back for 2 weeks and I can hardly get up. I can hardly do anything. And so fear starts to set in relation to this pain. And I'm thinking, what in the world is the problem? Well, I started back in 2013, I started working with energy. I became a coach and a facilitator, and I really dove headfirst. I mean, I went down the rabbit hole for months and months at a time to just understand the energy of the body. Now I have a firm grasp. And so I started working at this energy level, and I started trying to understand what is blocked that is creating this pressure. And I'm sure you've heard me say my analogy, and I love this analogy because it fits so perfectly. But your body is a garden hose, and the water that runs from the spigot to the actual garden, whether it's vegetables or flowers, is your life and life force energy. The water that runs through is life force energy. That's the healing energy that heals our body, that its only job is to heal our body. You get a paper cut, you don't think anything of it. You clean it, you put a Band-Aid on it, and you go about your day. And the body naturally heals itself. Okay? Then if I'm standing there and something is going on with my back, I need to get to the cause because I can't live a life like this. I can't live a life where I'm laying on the couch all day, gaining weight. I mean, this is not okay with me. So I go in, I see this guy, and I just absolutely love him. He's a fantastic, but his symptom work on me, if you will, gave me temporary relief. So he'd give me some exercises and he's like, okay, we're going to focus on these exercises and we're going to focus on the glutes and the quadratus and we're going to do some minor stretching. We're going to open up the hips a little bit. We're going to work on, and he gives me all these exercises and he does some massage therapy. So I could walk in there crooked and walk out straight. Well, not straight, but upright. Anyway, and so I thought it was doing good, right? And so months and months later, I'm like, why am I still having these flare-ups where I am like dropped right to the floor, right to the ground? And it's very aggravating, right? So anyway, so at one point I'm in there and talking, I said, okay, listen, what is the actual cause? Like, what is the actual problem? We need to get to the course or get to the source of the problem. So this will never, ever happen again. And I can get on with my life. And he says, you have an issue with your vertebrae, L2 and L3. And I'm like, no. And he goes, yeah. And I said, no. Intuitively, I knew that was wrong. So anyway, so speed forward a little bit. I have an MRI done and there's a little bit of degeneration in L2 and L3, but not the type of, there's no disc rupture. There's no herniated disc, nothing like that would lead to this type of pain. Okay. So move on. I move on from them. I continue to do some exercises. I continue to have flare-ups. I continue to live my life in fear. Then I have this big flare-up. It's cold in the morning. I'm standing on the deck. The girls, my dogs, are out in the backyard, and I'm standing up, and I'm barefoot, and I stood up I'm standing, and so I put a sock on, and I drop onto the deck on my back. My back is seized up. I'm like getting ready to go to work. Call the dogs upstairs. I can't move. And thankfully I have my phone. It's cold outside. And so I basically, flat on my back, I crawl into the house. And it was excruciating. It is the worst pain I've ever felt. Called an ambulance. I spend 3 days in the hospital. And because they try to get me to stand and I pass out. And so they're like, oh my God, your heart and whatever. I said, it's not my heart. I said, I'm just in pain, excruciating pain. Anyway, and so I spent 3 days in the hospital and just basically to get everything to relax. And they recommend a physical therapist. I'm like, okay, here we go again, right? So I go and see a different physical therapist and she goes, yeah, no, it's not your spine. I said, okay, yeah, you're right. And so she starts working these different sets of muscles and she starts doing different types of exercises and her focus was just a little bit different. Did it start working? Yep. But I did have a couple of flare-ups, right? And so I'm like, I really got to do these exercises. I really got to stick with this. Like this has to be part of my life. Just like brushing your teeth. You have to take care of your body. This is self-preservation. You want to be on the planet, but feel good in the body that you're living in, right? This is taking care of your house, taking care of your temple. If I don't take the garbage out and do the dishes and dust occasionally, my house is going to be pretty gross. Well, that's no different than the house you're walking around in. Take care of your house. That's my little commercial break. Okay. So I go and see her and she starts talking about my surgery and she starts talking about different things in scar tissue and whatever and my pelvis and how it's rotated and how it's turned and it's rotated. And so we're going to do that. And we're going to basically work these muscles, loosen these ones and strengthen these ones that hold the pelvis in place. I'm like, oh, okay, so this is something completely different, right, than what the guy was doing. So I'm like, okay, I love it. Yeah, it's amazing. And then I still have flare-ups. I did start riding my bike a little bit and things were feeling pretty good. But then several days later, I would flare up again. Now, it wasn't lasting as long. I wasn't flat on my back for 2 weeks. Might have been 3 days, but it was still there. And the fear was still there. So now fast forward to today. Amy's been seeing this PT because she's got this shoulder issue. And I go in and I'm seeing this. She's you could call her a physical therapist, but she's got a title that is way better and way more than that. Like you could call me a life coach, but I've got expertise that is way beyond and elevated from life coaching. And she starts talking about energy work. And of course, we hit it right off, right? And I've already met her a couple times. Amy's been working with her for months, and we talk about her all the time. And we, they chat and text, and so we engage a little bit. And I've met her, I think twice, maybe once. Anyway, and we have great conversations. So I'm like, oh, energy work, yeah. And so anyway, so we start talking about the chakras, and I start talking about the chakras with Amy, and I'm like, I wonder if it's just the lower chakras, the root, the sacral, the solar. Energy is stuck right there. That's all lower back. It's all business. It's all this emotional. This like holding on, right? I'm kinking the hose when it comes to my business and I'm trying to surrender and I'm trying to be open and I'm trying to let go of that, but it's still there. It still happens. And so she's working, I'm laying on my back and she says, we need to work on this other set of muscles, the psoas, which if you want to look it up, it starts with a P as in Paul, SOAS. And the psoas is a very deep-seated abdominal muscle that connects under the ribs and down through the top of the quad. And I'm going to give you a little bit of muscle anatomy here, but that's really it, really. But anyway, it's a very, very deep muscle, deep. And so she starts working on that. So I'm not kidding. She is digging her hands into my abdomen, at my abdominal cavity, pushing deep. And I'm like, holy crap. I mean, it wasn't the pain, or I should say at least the tenderness of her pushing was not a 10, but it was like an 8 at times. And then she would kind of light up. But then But what she was doing is she was getting to the cause. She's like, these muscles are short because of sitting, because of these other muscles that are really holding everything. So those are really long and these are really short. So she's going through the anatomy. But when she started digging in to the emotional piece of it, now I understand what she's talking about. And I have tried to do some work, but I can't dig my hand into my own stomach. I can't do that. Like that is not something, I can't do it. But, there's ways, obviously different therapies. I can use a ball and lay on this, not sharp, but it's a small ball. It really digs in there. But I don't really know what I'm doing. So as she's explaining it, she's explaining the anatomy of my body and then starts talking about holding on to energy. She goes up to my occipital bone, which is the bone at the base of the back of your head. And she starts pushing around there. I have no idea what she's doing, but I think cranial sacral work is like this at what she was doing. And she's basically testing my emotional state. And as she's pushing on these bones, I'm like, for one, that was very, very tender. And she goes, yeah, you're holding on to all these emotions. And she's like, what's going on? I said, well, I'm working on a new course that's coming out. And I said, and I'm trying to understand my process in my group coaching program and how to help clients see me and find me and trust me and want to work with me. I can help them. And she's like, that's a lot of pressure. That's a big burden. And your body is holding on to that. I'm like, oh my God, my hose is kinked. And so as the symptom, now understand this, the symptom is in my back. She's up at the back of my head. And then she's pushing in my stomach area, trying to lengthen my psoas muscle. And then she was pushing on my hip flexor, which is at the top of your thigh, the front of your leg, at the base of your stomach, and it's the front of your top part of your leg. And she's elongating. These are short and that's tense and this. But do you understand what's happening? She's getting to the cause. You're holding on to this energy. You're standing in your own garden, kinking the hose for whatever you're doing. You're holding this energy. It's creating this pressure and your back seizes up. It can only handle so much. And then your back goes, I give up. In order to protect you, Jen, I give up. And when I give up, I lock up. And so there's no more movement because we can't do it. We're not a team. Oh, we're not a team. The parts of my body have to work together. Well, also, what does that mean? Take that a level deeper into the energy world. Like, I love to talk about anatomy and physiology and the body and how it works together. But let's go to the energy, because I can't get my body to work together. I can't get the back of my body, those muscles, to work with the front of my body to help hold my pelvis in place or to help me to do a certain task. If I'm sitting all day, then the back part of my muscles are elongating as I'm leaning over the computer. The front part of my muscles, my abdominal muscles, my psoas, and my hip flexors are all getting shorter. So the front part of my muscles are all taking a break while the back part of my muscles are working their tails off, right? They're not on the same team. Okay, so go a little bit further into energy. All right, if I have to go further into energy, what does that mean? I need to get my body to work with my mind, because they're not working together. They're not on the same team. Now tell me if you've experienced this before. You are experiencing some pain in your body and you start to attack yourself. You start to think, damn it, why did I eat that? Why am I like this? What the heck is going on? What am I going to do? I'm such an idiot. Why did I stop working out? Maybe I should start working out. You're so lazy. Do you ever hear yourself talk like that? The cause of when our body is not working appropriately is never our body's fault. Never. It is the symptom of our constant thinking and that thinking, those words and those thoughts getting pushed into the body. And the body is basically reaping the downfall of your thoughts. So what do? We have to clean up our thinking. We have to clean up our house. We have to start taking care of ourselves. We have to start thinking differently, using different words. I can't emphasize this enough, how much my life has changed and how drastic it has changed in such a short amount of time when I started paying attention to my words. It's a huge awareness. But I know that you can do it because it's important and it's going to start cleaning out your physical symptom. Because in order for me to have a physicality that I'm in love with, my mind has to be on board. Because my body follows my mind. My body follows my mind. And if I am stuck, if I am kinking the hose life force energy is still going to try to flow through you. That's the nature of us on the planet. That's our spiritual nature. And if my body is not hearing the right words, then my mind, if my body is not hearing the right words, then my body starts to be affected by it. So if you have pain in your body, whether it's emotional pain and you're dealing with some low vibrational energy, anger, frustration, anxiety, depression, sadness, guilt, right? If you're dealing with that, your mind is the cause. Your mind is the cause. The words, the stories, the thought processes, the limiting beliefs, that is the cause. But we go in and we get a massage and we feel better, but for how long? But it was this whole piece. This is what I teach. And now in a second, this trainer brings me full circle. Now, why didn't I think of this before? Well, I give a lot, I share a lot, I teach a lot, and I take things in, but I need to apply them to my own life. And so this was a wonderful, beautiful awareness that I had, and I needed to immediately share it with you. So I think what I want to invite you to explore a little bit, and I have said this on many podcasts, and I think it is an amazing experience. It's an amazing exercise to do, is to take whatever your problem is, whatever it is that you are most struggling with, and how do you talk about that thing? How do you talk about it? And is your talking about it, are you working with your body or are you working against your body? And that is a huge epiphany for some of you to recognize that your thoughts create the sensation in your body. And it either is a contributing factor to life force energy flowing, or it is hindering. It is kinking the hose. It is either yes or no. There's probably a neutral place to be, but it really is yes or no. Am I supporting my body? Am I being patient with my body? Am I feeding my body the things that it needs to heal? If I have a paper cut and I go ahead and continue to go out into the world and I don't clean the cut, maybe I put some spit on it, but I just continue to go and touch gross things and do gross stuff, and I don't wash it, I don't cut it, I don't put any Neosporin on it, I don't clean it out, I don't put a Band-Aid on it, the chances of it healing in a really easy way are slimmer, right? Because I'm not taking care of it. I'm not creating the environment. Now listen, if your body is in pain, physical or emotional pain, don't go to the body. Go to the mind. Mind, how are you feeding the body? What are you telling it? What are you saying? Find that place of grace. Find that place of love and patience and this collaboration with your body. Now, am I saying don't take an aspirin when you have a headache? No, not. Am I saying don't go get massage therapy when your back hurts? No, I'm not. What I'm saying, though, is do this in conjunction with the other things you do to take care of your body. I'm going to see this therapist. I'm going to continue to see her because she opened my freaking eyes to what I was doing. I'm on a learning spiritual journey, too. I'm just maybe a few steps ahead of you, and I'm sharing with you my story because I want you to understand a couple of things. When we do this work, our life gets better, it gets easier, it becomes coherent. We just move into the space of opportunities and possibilities and love and joy, and we get to experience things at a different level. And it puts me in this place, in the driver's seat of my life, as an empowered woman, as a business owner, as a coach, as a partner, as a mom. I am on this planet to empower you. So, but I'm also on a journey. I also have to learn. I also have to understand, oh yeah, don't feed it. Don't feed it. Don't talk about your body like that. I got to give it the food. I got to give it the water. I got to give it the nourishment it needs to create that atmosphere so it can heal. But I also have to do my energy work. I have to release the shit that doesn't work, that doesn't serve me anymore. I have to release the beliefs that no longer serve me. And my mind and my body have to work together. They have to work together because otherwise there's no joy for me. There's no joy left for me. If I don't work them together and I'm continuously in back pain, that means no more hiking, rock climbing, kayaking, traveling, sitting in the car for long periods of time. No more playing with the kids. No more running around. No more running. Now, I'm not like, let's go for a run. But I mean, I love to like run. You know, Cameron's going to be starting baseball and we'll like run the bases and run out to go catch a ball and we'll play catch with a football. And it's like, I love swimming. I love running on the beach. I love being active. So that was my 2 cents worth. I hope you got something out of this, you know, and I want you to know I have programs that are coming up. If you are not connected with me and you are listening to this, please come to my Facebook page. You can friend me on Facebook, JENMAC. Follow me, friend me. Every time I have episodes, I drop them out there. I let my personal people know, right? You can come to my Chakras for Beginners group. Everything is being transformed, where we're sharing information. We have a group chat. We're asking questions. We're digging in. I also have upcoming group coaching programs because I am building a community, a culture of empowered women who are healing, deepening their connections, and creating a bold, beautiful life. I hope you join me. Thanks for listening. And if you were inspired by this episode and are looking for healing, transformational growth, and a community to show up in, then please join me on Facebook under Jen Mac, JENMAC. Friend me and follow me. You can also reach out to me via Messenger to see when my next program begins so we can work together to bring about your healing, deepen your connections, and start to create your bold, beautiful life. Also, if you are inspired by my podcast, please share your opinion in a review so others can be inspired too. Keep growing, going, and transforming, and keep looking for those nuggets of inspiration.